Hey everyone, it's Lindsay and I'm back today with a video on making backgrounds. Now I do this quite a lot and I looked back through my videos and I don't have any that are specifically dedicated to this technique, and I use this quite often. So I am using this Farm Living stamp set from Craft and Desert Divas, and there are these great 3 little stamps in there that are perfect to create kind of like a cowhide design. So I have a 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 inch square piece of white cardstock, and I am using any black dye ink here. Any black ink really will work for this, just to stamp out a pattern. Now this is one of my favorite techniques to use. I work in a very small space, as I've said many times before, and I do not have a lot of storage space. So I have to be picky and really decide what I'm going to store and how I'm going to store it. So pattern paper is not something that I choose to store. I own so many stamps that it's very easy for me to create my own pattern paper, which is what I'm doing here. So I am just going to very randomly stamp these out in just any fashion that I want to. And then when I went back and looked, it was looking a little too geometric and a little too planned out. So I'm going back and filling in all of these little bare spots. Now once that was all stamped out, I am going to use a black alcohol marker just to quickly color these in. Now I'm using one of my Dick Blick markers. However, if you have Copics, a very dark gray, I'm not sure if they have black, but that would work. Or if you just have a Sharpie, that would work well in this situation too. Now I didn't worry about my black ink here because these are going to be solidly colored in black. You could go a step further and really shade these in with some grays if you wanted to. I wanted this to be nice and quick, and I'm also going along with the color scheme of a new sequin mix that was released by Craft and Desert Divas. So I wanted mine to be straight black. Now I just have a few left to color in, and once these are all colored in, this is such a great pattern paper. I didn't have to store anything extra to have it on hand, and I quickly made it myself in under 5 minutes. So it is a great technique to use, especially if you're like me and you really have to be picky about what you choose to store in your space. So I'm using one of the brand new Inside Scallop circle dies. This is the largest one in the set, and I just cut that right out from the center of my square there. Now there on the right you see that new sequin mix. It's got some hot pink, some black, and some silver in it. So I picked out a pink cardstock that matched exactly to that pink colored sequin in the mix, and I'm going with that color scheme. I have a hard time with my color schemes. I have it in my clothes too. But so what I do a lot of times is I look at a sequin mix, and that's how I choose my colors for my cards. It helps me out. Maybe it will help some of you out to do that as well. So I am using the cow stamp from that Farm Living stamp set, as well as the Cowabunga sentiment, and I am lining this right over that circle die cut that I made. Now I've already put acetate over that cutout, so I just went ahead and lined that up with a just blank piece of square cardstock. That's going to be my background for my shaker. I'm using Memento dye ink here to stamp these out. You will be able to see my smearing if it happens on this one, so I'm going to have to go ahead and use Memento. So I'm using my Misty so I can go ahead and double stamp and get a nice, very dark black stamp with this ink pad. So I've just inked that up again. I'll flip that lid over, stamp it down, and there I have a very dark and rich stamping with my Memento ink, which is great. Now I quickly colored in this little cow with my alcohol markers. Again, I'm using some black just to color in those spots on its skin. Now for its little snout, is it a snout if it's a cow? I'm not sure. Its little nose, I went ahead and colored that in, along with its inside of its ears were a little pink. The bell, I'm going to go ahead and color in with some yellows to appear gold, and then I'm using some very light, almost skin tones for his skin on the cow. Now I didn't want to leave it white. I thought it was too white up against the background, so I did add just a bit of color, and I'm just coming back in and deepening up some of those shadows very quickly. Once I had my cow colored in, I started putting together my shaker frame. So I already had the acetate on that top piece, that cowhide pattern paper I had created. I went ahead and used that same circle die to cut out a circle from a piece of fun foam. I applied double-sided adhesive to one side of that and put that right over that frame that I created on the front panel. Now I already had my acetate down, so all I need to do now is go ahead and run my embossing bag over that acetate to cut down on any static that might go on in my sequins. Now I like to remove my backing paper before I put in my sequins. I find if I don't, I shake things around, sequins pop out, it turns into a big mess. So I always remove my backing paper before I put in my sequins. Then I just scatter some of those sequins right in. Because I use my embossing bag, any static that was in those will be gone now. So I won't have any sticking around on the sides of my shaker that I've made here. Now, I did not think of this beforehand, but I'm not going to be able to line up that cow perfectly whenever I go and put this shaker on. However, I have enough distraction from the sequins, and I went ahead and cut this little cow square to be just a bit smaller than the actual pattern paper that I created, so everything fit together very nicely and I didn't have to worry too much about placement. It's not perfect, but it's not so bad to where anybody's going to be able to tell. Now I have a 5 by 5 inch black top folding card base that I made, and then I also went ahead and cut that same scallop circle die, inside scallop circle die, from some hot pink cardstock that you see me matching to my sequins. I'm going to use glossy accents, and then I'll put that right over that circle cutout over the acetate. That glossy accents does stick very well to the acetate, so I don't have to worry about it coming off in the mail. And there I've got a nice little frame for my shaker that I've made. Now I wanted to add just a little bit more shine, so on each one of those little cow spots that I made, I went ahead and put on a layer of Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen. But that finishes off today's card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I gave you a few pointers on making your own pattern paper and backgrounds as well. As always, I will leave you with a few pictures of the finished card. For more information and the supply list, you can head to my blog. That link will be in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and happy crafting!